this is Nate Streeter with Steve Lundgren, StreetSmart Marketing.
Hey, hi folks, how you doing?
And we get this question quite a bit. It is about swag.
Swag?
Yeah.
Swag or not the swag? Swag, what is that?
Well, it's this kind of, I want to call it junk, but that's probably not. I'm tipping my hat to what I think about it then if I say that, right?
Advertising promotions.
Yes, promotional products. That's what I think the typical industry term is. And it can be anything from pens to magnets to keychains to
Coffee cups.
Yeah, all this stuff hopefully you guys can see here on the screen.
Slap your logo on a tagline on it.
Yep, and of course then they get so excited because they come up with all kinds of creative ones like pill containers and I don't know.
New ideas coming out all the time.
Yeah, they're always coming out with something. So let's move into the questions that we usually get, right? I mean, these are really the questions we usually get.
So this swag, is it really effective?
I would say, and we'll tip our hat to this a little bit, but I think in general, no, because it lacks strategy. Most people that I see, they're not using it very strategically.
Oh, okay.
So, but I'd say that's true with any marketing, right? I mean, when you lack strategy, usually you're seeing the least effectiveness. I think we see that across the board. So
maybe people feel like they have to do it just because everybody's doing it?
Exactly. I think there's some of that. And I think there's some of the fact that they're thinking my logo is in these people's houses for months or years. It's got to be good.
Phone's going to be ringing off the hook.
Exactly. So I think, there's always that concept that enters the fray in these kinds of scenarios as well.
Yeah. But does it work? I mean, they think it will.
I'd say in most cases, no. And we'll go through how to make it work, how to be thinking more strategically, but I'd say in most cases, no.
Okay.
Unless someone's really good at it. And, again, does it have measurable ROI? Well, it's tricky, right? I mean, this is more of the, getting your name out there kind of marketing.
Yeah, unless you had a call tracking phone number on that cup, how do you know which calls are coming from the cup?
And we've done that. So we've done call tracking numbers on specific promotional items, and usually hardly any calls come in. Or they come in from a few current clients, or something.
But at least then you can measure it.
Right. And what I've seen over and over in that case when we have measured it is, oh my goodness, this does not have return on investment.
Yeah.
So you have to be thinking about it in terms of other value. And I sort of even wince to say that because I have a hard time thinking of any marketing that we don't think in terms of return on investment. So I think that's part of my problem with these kinds of things is in general, they don't have high return on investment. And so it's hard to sort of for me to gulp down that they could be part of an effective marketing strategy.
Right.
So.
And I wonder if companies have a tendency to sort of look at these things as being even outside they're not really thinking of them as being part of a whole marketing strategy or program or part of their advertising budget. It's just something that came up and they're cheap and, hey, we should do something and let's get some blah, blah, blah cups or pens or whatever they are.
Right.
And just not really thinking it through.
Right. And it makes them feel good, when everybody on their staff has a pen that has their logo on it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take anything away from that. Obviously, your staff's morale and pride in your brand. I mean, we see that all the time on Facebook. It's interesting because you put a picture up of something that your company's doing that they're proud of. And, we look at it and we say, wow, gosh, it looks like everybody on our staff liked the picture. And a couple of them commented on it. Yep. And then they sort of come to me like, well, I guess it was a fail. And I said, no. Rallying your own troops and you guys being excited about something that you're sharing with your larger community, there's a lot of value in that.
Absolutely.
And swag can kind of fit into that a little bit too, I think.
Right.
So, well, let's get into some of these things. I mean, we already kind of tipped our hat out at these three things. When we talk about making full use of the opportunity, what is it that we mean by that, Steve?
I guess that's to look at the situation. I have a good example that happened at my bank, and I think this really fits. I remember pulling up to the drive-up window, and I was making a transaction, and I needed to sign something that I'd forgotten to sign, and it was a matter of, do you have a pen? And I remember the pen coming out to me, and it was I can't remember if they said it or if I asked, can I keep the pen? And yeah, go ahead, And just before I pulled away, it was just sort of an epiphanous moment to look at the pen and think, wow, here's a logo pen. It's kind of a nice pen. And I needed a pen. They provided a pen. And it just in that moment sort of spoke to the service and something that they were able to connect with me. And that was just memorable for me. I still remember it. And, not that I kept and cherished the pen or anything. I think it had more to do with that specific event. But
Right.
that's an example.
And I like that what you just said there, because I think the more of those kind of events you can create, the better. And that's, I think, what I don't like about swag is generally people think of the value as being intrinsic to the item rather than the transaction, the actual what happens during the transaction. In my mind, that's what's valuable. So if you're handing out something, and we'll go into a few of these here in the coming slides, but whether it's at a trade show or at the fair or at a parade or wherever, it's always an opportunity to make a some kind of impression.
Right.
And if you just hand them something, I think don't think that cup cozy is really going to have very much ability to speak for your brand.
It's almost like we need to look at the event a little differently. If you're thinking about the event as being like a parade or the fair or something when you're giving something away, really the event needs to be about meeting somebody's need and making some kind of a connection. That needs to be the event that we're focused on.
Yes. I don't want to take away. There are a few examples. You and I talked about them. Star Tribune gives out reusable bags at the fair. Everybody needs a bag at the fair because you get all kinds of crap you need to carry around. Is there value to that? Maybe. It's not very expensive. They're definitely not trying to make very much of a connection with you or anything. They're just handing them out by the thousands.
Right.
So, but I think we talked about, let's say you've got kids' hair. They've got several franchises in the Twin Cities, different versions of that.
Right.
And the thing is, let's say you're thinking, okay, my target market is what? Families, right? I mean, obviously they got to have small kids.
Right.
And I'm thinking, okay, well, where do they go? They go to parades, they go to, probably not home shows and stuff. So that wouldn't be a good place, but parades probably be good.
For families, yep.
So you come to me, you say, okay, StreetSmart, what could we do at the parade next year? I want to be strategic.
Yeah.
So we're going to think through that. We're going to say, well, your target's kids, but really the parent's the one that makes the transaction.
Right.
Really what you're selling is more than a haircut. You're selling satisfied parents who, feel like how to deal with their cranky toddler or their pain in the butt 6-year-old.
A good haircutting experience for both the parents and the kids.
Exactly. So at a parade, I think what you think about is, okay, I'm not going to just hand out candy. Like that would seem obvious. Like, okay, we want to, perhaps what you do is you bring all of your stylists along and make sure that they're in uniform.
Right.
And you have them hand the candy just to the kids.
Yeah.
And say, hey, little, I think, well, what were you saying, Steve?
Balloons, I think was the idea.
Yeah, and balloons too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, actually make a connection with the child. Like, hey, can't wait to see you down at the kids' here. And like we talked about, balloons are a pain in the neck for parents. I mean, I got 3 kids. Your kids aren't kids anymore.
It's true.
But, I hate when they get balloons because it's like, within an hour they're going to lose the dang thing. So I think you and I talked about it. It's like, well, what if you put like a little something on the end of it already that had your coupon that was weighted.
Weight it down a little
so
bit.
it couldn't fly away. And you've got everything you need to make an impression on that child.
Right.
Hi, I'm Angie from Sports Clips. Here's some candy. Here's a balloon. I can't wait to see you down at the salon.
When you come down, ask for me.
Ask for me. Yeah, see, now that's making a connection. Now, Angie's going to have to do that 100 times during the parade. That's going to be exhausting. Right. Sort of the only good thing about parades is that they're only like 90 minutes.
Yeah, but if you could pick up 5 clients doing that, it's well
more
worth
than
it.
that, because see, no one else is doing that.
Yep.
The next hair salon place, they're just going to hand out candy. Well, that's not really being memorable, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's really the key. And it's also not making full use of the opportunity.
Yeah.
How do you measure something like that? Well, of course, you measure those coupons you handed out in that specific case.
Right.
So, I think these 3 things, if you can keep these in mind, you are going to be golden.
Yeah.
I think what I usually see is such a lack of strategy. Like you said, they just say, let's give away this, or there's just really no strategy.
These are cheap. These are on special. Let's get that. Yeah.
And you have to realize, let's say you only, whether you're at a fair or parade or wherever you're giving away swag, you only have a couple milliseconds, and you're screwing it up just by handing something to them. I sort of feel like that. What if you took that couple seconds and did something more? Just make sure you're positioning
memorable.
yourself. Yeah. And so we talked a lot about this, Steve, and
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a differentiation between giveaways, like we've talked about at parades or things, and items that relate to the sales process.
So we're sort of looking at the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Not everything that has your logo on it is swag.
Right.
The swag stuff is kind of the cheap giveaways, or the giveaways. I mean, sometimes they can be expensive, I suppose, but they have just sort of a different purpose because they're really sort of outside the sales process. And so now we're focusing on that.
And we talked about a couple examples, like let's say you're a plumber.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And you're thinking, okay, I'm at somebody's house. They've already signed up for this work. What could I give them to be memorable?
Yeah.
And I just, I want to cry usually when I hear this question because I know that they're thinking about giving them something ridiculous.
Right.
That's not going to have anything to do with being memorable or making full use of the opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent. Like, okay, you like magnets. I know a lot of you companies out there, you love magnets, particularly home service businesses, and I love magnets too. They work great.
Right.
But rather than just give them a magnet, why don't you give them a magnet that has the warranty on it? So you're handing it to them. You're saying, hey, I filled this out for you. It shows when your warranty for parts expires, when your warranty for labor expires. If you have any problems at all, even after the warranty costs, we might be able to give you a discount.
Right.
You hand that to them. Do you think that's going to get on their fridge?
Yeah, they don't want to lose that.
And do you think that's memorable?
Yeah.
So, see, you utilize that opportunity in a far greater way than just giving them some generic magnet with your logo on it.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
again, it's... And I think when you're in... I guess where we go here is, if you're in the sales process, holy smoly, do you have an opportunity.
Yeah.
I sort of feel like if you're giving away a cozy... Oh my goodness, I just want to strangle you. Like, you need to be realizing there's so much more opportunity than that.
That's more of a prospecting thing.
Yeah, and even then it's a weak, like we already, talked about, it's sort of a weak tool. So at this stage, if you're in the sales process, utilize it to the fullest. You and I talked about holidays.
Right. I was just going to ask about
Yeah, talk more about that. I'm talking.
So holidays things, it's just like what is important there and what's going to work. One of the problems is that as so many people are doing something at that time, you sort of can get lost in the mix. One of the things that I've seen that I think works really well is to think it through in terms of the timing. I've seen some people that'll do something that's keyed more to Thanksgiving than Christmas, and so they're kind of ahead of the rush, and something like that can stand out. The other thing to do is to do something like at the end of December that's more New Year's related. That's another way to sort of stand out from things.
Yeah, don't send a Christmas card like everybody else does. You're with the 50 other Christmas cards they got. It's exposure, and you're getting very little. You send let's say you sent a card at Valentine's Day. Ooh. Now, Steve and I talked about this, and or flowers even. Yeah. If you're a business to business, it's a little easier. If you're business to consumer, I know some of you guys have 40,000 clients. I know that's not possible.
Flowers to everybody. Why not?
Yeah. So, but if you sent a card, and obviously you have to be careful. You don't want to be showing any kind of romantic.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you can guarantee none of your competitors are sending out a Valentine's card.
Yep.
Or a Mother's Day card, or whatever. There's a lot of different, like Steve said, a Thanksgiving card.
Yeah.
And not only that, let's look at the opportunity. Do you have an opportunity where you could send them something like a little gift, or, I don't know. I like those kinds of things because you're framing it into something. You're thinking about it strategically. You're thinking about what your competitors are doing, and, just add some more strategy to this and you can get a lot more traction.
It'd be interesting. Pick a date that they don't even recognize that you would recognize, like the anniversary of when they started doing business with you.
Yep, we've seen that, and that can be very good.
Yeah, because this is like, wow, they remembered when that was.
And realtors are the ones that like to use that, and they'll often use it to try to get more leads. So, yep, we've seen that. So, let's say a company needed help from us, Steve. What would be their next steps? They're thinking about doing a parade next year or something. What should they do?
Yeah, well, they can get together just like it says here, so we can do to help. What you can do to help. I guess that's about reviews. I'm sorry, I'm reading something here, getting ahead of myself. But yeah, we're available. You can give us a call or by email that you can see there, or the Twitter. Another way you can help us is to leave a review, comment, or a Twitter mention. If this was meaningful to you, let us know about that. If you think it'd be meaningful to someone else, share this video with someone. We'd also like to hear from you if you'd like to suggest a video topic. Maybe you could talk about some of the packages that we have for.
Yeah, so and I know some of you guys have small businesses, and we're happy to help you guys through these videos and stuff. And gosh, we get that question. Nate, I'm not ready to sign up for a $600 4-session package or something like that. We get that. I mean, some of you guys are not at that point. But how can I sort of pay it forward? These are a couple ways. We love it if you can suggest a video topic or share this video with somebody else.
Right.
But yeah, if you're ready to take the next steps, we can absolutely help you plan it out. We have packages that start at $599 for 4 sessions. So, it's relatively inexpensive to get into, the strategy and really kind of take the next steps.
Absolutely.
So we look forward to talking to you about your swag.
Okay. Thanks.